names that I've called so far, I've gone through the whole list. Carrie Zarofsky, Frank Heimerdinger, Liz Batterson, Christine Simone, John Eskew, Roy Blumenshine. Jessica Blischke, missed her. Darren Spoke, yeah. Okay, so we've gone through all speakers. Let me do this first. I want to make sure everybody knows that. First of all, I want to thank everyone for this was a highly respectful approach, and I'm very grateful for everybody. So thank you very much for the opportunity to hear many voices in the room and to be such effective listeners. So thank you for that.
Yep, great. Again, I want to echo that as well. Thank you so much for all of your input. We've been taking notes. I do want to be able to share with you. I heard a lot of highlights, right? I hear a lot about us caring about our kids and really wanting us to be able to get back to normal, whatever that new normal is. Clearly this isn't it, right? And I would say there's not one of us up here right now that is enjoying the mask and the tension behind our ears, et cetera, and we know that our kids are feeling that too, and we all have kids or grandkids in our public schools as well. So we hear that loud and clear. I think one of the pieces I do want to be able to just share, because I'm not sure that we always know this, and I've shared individually with people, but on the masking, we heard a lot about masking, and I do want our community to know that we have an off-ramp. And once local control is returned, we have already approved being able to remove masking in our schools for those 12 and up immediately once we have local control, and that within 60 to 90 days after the vaccine is available, which starts on November 8th, that we'll be able to do so for our 5 through 12-year-olds. So I just want to be able to share that information. And then really a lot of pieces around curriculum. And I do want to just clarify that the board has really 2 lanes in terms of what they do. One of them is to be able, we have the authority to be able to supervise our superintendent, Superintendent Cook, and we do so by setting goals for the district and policies. And then the second thing is we approve the budget. But there's a lot of these other pieces that people are coming, that people are expressing, that really are outside of the board's purview. And so I have all of the emails, but if those questions aren't things that we can answer, then I'm going to reach out to you individually, and I will commit to connecting you to the people that actually do have the authority to be able to answer those questions. And that's my commitment, and that's my commitment in every public meeting that we have, is to be able to reach out to anyone who gives public comment. So again, I just really want to thank you for being here tonight. And again, please reach out to school-board at ben.k12.or.us, and I will commit to answering any questions that you have, responding to every email, and I regularly meet with people in front of the Ed Center. And if I need to come down and do that in front of Three Rivers or Lapine Elementary, I'm happy to do that as well. Thank you.
And we have a few people that have signed up that would like to speak.
Great.
Marcus, do you want to go ahead first? Or do you
Oh, no, I'm good. The thing I was going to say to add on with Melissa, and thank you, Melissa, and thank you for the rest of the board members for being here, supporting, not just us, but also the people of our contingency. Other things I want to mention with that, and mentioning what Melissa said too, we just don't evaluate the superintendent on his performance. We also evaluate him on the system that we're trying to put in place. You have to look at that as well. So we're trying to create a better system, and that's what you mostly are asking for. Let's have a better system in terms of communicating, working with one another to try to get things done. We hear you loud and clear. We do. It's not that we don't listen. We do listen. And that's why we're looking at the things we do. So don't think we're not taking those things into consideration. And that's why I'm glad Melissa was transparent in a lot of the stuff that we are trying to do and trying to get to. So this city and this area is growing so fast, and we're trying to make sure that our community catches up with the growth. And it's gonna take some time. And we're still working hard to make sure we make that happen, all right?
Okay, before we call up these last 5 speakers, I want to just do a little quick promo and talk just a little bit about the process. Every time we push out changes in the policy, we're now releasing those at a school board meeting for public comment. And we're releasing those for your input. And we're bringing those back the following meeting for board approval or for adoption after that second time. So every single thing that we push out in that regard, you have the ability to get that feedback on. So just want to make sure that you know and are aware of that. That's a very important point of engagement that we want to invite you to take part in. Okay, we have 5 more speakers. Yeah.
It sounds like Carrie Zarofsky is now here.
Okay, so we have 6 more speakers.
And those 5 may or may not want to speak, but they're on the list.
Okay, so let's start with Carrie Zarofsky. Carrie's very shy. Okay. All right, we'll go through my list. Charla Hansen. Charla is not sure. Her son's trying to talk her into it. So, hold on. We got all kinds of media and we're recording, so we need you to sit and be on the mic. So state your name and your school affiliation or city of residence.
Okay, my name is Charla Hansen, and I'm a parent of 2 children here at Three Rivers.
Thank you.
So I'm a little on the spot, so I'm just gonna say I love our school. Hands down, best school. My 25-year-old went all through here, and I can't say enough great things about Three Rivers. I will say that the masking is very hard. The distance learning was very hard. The kids are having, social problems. I see it all around. There's just a completely weird energy that wasn't here before the pandemic among the kids, among the teachers, among the parents. It's just, everybody seems unsettled. There's just a disconnect. And I don't enjoy that, and I hear stories of the kids and what goes on at school, and the eating situation is hard. I wish the schools could have local control so that they could make decisions what's best for their school. Because like people have said before, it's different in schools in Bend and everywhere else than it is here. It's just smaller, and we have ways to work things around. I feel like it should be in the hands of the principals of the school to make those decisions. As far as vaccine mandates, I believe that it should be up to the parents, parent choice, how we want to protect our children as we are given that right to do. As a taxpayer, I'd like to have that choice for anyone. Do it or don't. And everybody can be okay with that. Everybody can be kind to one another based upon their decisions they make for their family. The masks, I hear that they're going to hopefully be coming off, but hopefully that doesn't come with a string attached to being vaccinated. Like I said, I love the school. I am a business owner here. Having to take my kids out and homeschool didn't work well, and I don't want to have to try to do that again, but I don't feel it's in my children's best interest to do that. Parents and adults, we all lived lives where if this goes bad, that's okay, I guess, if you want to do that. The kids, they're still young. They need a chance to experience life, and this is just too new. Once it's been established longer and we feel that it's safe, then maybe we should go do that. But in the meantime, it's not been proven yet, so I want to just have that right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Charlotte. And now that I said thanks, everybody's clapping. All right, see how that goes. All right, Mike Holliday. He said, never mind, okay. Brian Murphy. We're getting a lot of wave offs now. Okay, so I think this is, so forgive me, Michelle Martin? Michelle, this is what you get when you get a ballpoint pen. So Michelle somebody, and I think Michelle somebody's passing. Okay. Okay, so that's.
Can I take this spot?
Have you spoken?
No.
Sure. Come on, you got to tell us your name and make sure we get you signed in first too.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. State your name and school affiliation.
My name is John Luttrell, and I'm not very good speaker, so bear with me. I have 2 kids here. I just want to piggyback the whole being not a blanket policy. I mean, we live in a temperate where it gets really cold here and wet. And our kids are sitting outside on the asphalt next to dumpsters and porta potties. And I called Tim and he says, my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. Well, who's in charge of these kids? What do we do? I mean, and I'm like, I'm a contractor, I'll come build some benches. He's like, well, you can't come in the school. I mean, come on, you guys. Let's figure this out together. There's got to be some sort of loophole. Let the parents help or want to come help. And that's on you guys. And if your hands are tied, then whose hands are they? Let's figure this out.
Okay. All right, I think we're good.
Can I get clarification on just something that Melissa said? With the masking coming off after the vaccine is available from 5 to 11, you said 60 to 90 days, but I recall in the very first in-person board meeting that Dr. Cook, you specifically said 60 days, and 30 days is a long extra time. So is it 60 or is it 60 to 90?
So that's a fair question, and let's see, I want to get this right. Hold on. Danielle?
Yes.
Good job.
She whispered it to me.
I just died. Okay, there we go. So let me speak to that exactly. So here's the way that the plan is written, and we talked about this a lot, and we did not necessarily all agree. Yeah.
I think it was 4 to 7.
The 2 things that were the most concerning topic was how are we leaving this? How are we getting out? What's our exit strategy? How are we going to, if and when the time comes for us to be able to make a decision? And right now, well, you know this, but I'll say it anyway, that we don't have that authority right now. It still resides with the state. It is a state mask mandate. The conversation that we had around what the exit strategy looks like is, what are going to be those triggers that say we believe now that we have set the conditions in which we can start talking about no longer requiring masks, but going to a recommendation of masks. And the 2 things that we were really spending the most time talking about were, number 1, the students over the age of 12, whether they were vaccinated or not, parents who wanted their students to be vaccinated have had the opportunity. And at some point, that opportunity was going to exist for students ages 5 to 11. And the window we talked about, I mentioned the very first time it was brought up was 60 days. We settled on 60 to 90 days. That was the window of time, and I think what you'll see from us is 2 things. I've already started talking to people at the state level that say, look, the day that we have a trigger in our plan that the clock starts ticking the day that students are, that 5 to 11-year-old students have access. So we're going to want to be able to communicate with our constituency what that plan looks like. And so what I would tell you is I anticipate that you'll hear from us in the lens of, if there is a date in that 60 to 90 day window where we feel like that there is a reasonable access, and that the reason for the range was we weren't sure about how accessible those vaccinations were going to be. It sounds like that they're fairly abundant and that there should be pretty regular access and easy access for those families that wish to choose that pathway. And if that's the case, then that gap in time between 60 to 90 days would be a little closer to the 60. If it's a little harder to get access, then it would be a little more towards the 90. Now, that being said, it doesn't take precedence over the state mandate, but that's the plan that we put into place, was that if local control returned to us, that's the way we would administer it. And so I know those 2 things may be in conflict at some point, but that's what this board committed to in a 4-3 vote back in September, with lots of dialogue. And if you recall, the second piece of that was the most challenging was the risk of lunch, and when students were unmasked. And whether you agree or disagree, just that's everybody's got their belief in that, but that was the plan and how we tried to administer that. And I'm glad to talk with Tim more about solutions for this building, and so we'll continue that dialogue. So I hope that helps clarify, okay? All right. Oh, there's some hands going
Can I
up.
ask a follow-up?
You may, sure.
Will-
Tell me your name again.
My name is Josh Luttrell.
Josh Littrell, okay?
Will the vaccine be a prerequisite to not wearing a mask in school?
Vaccine prerequisite for masking was never a discussion point.
Thank you.
Mindy?
When are volunteers, parents going to be able to get back into the
We're working on that right now, a little bit at a time. Yeah, we've got kind of the next level of access starting next week.
So we have heard and we've been monitoring situations. We know that our students who are over 12 have the ability, families have the ability to vaccinate. So we are rolling out, this will be news to a lot of people, but we are rolling out a form where they can just define, here's the event we want to have, here are the mitigation strategies. We're doing it for grades 6 through 12 first. So we're going to be careful with that, pilot that. We know we're going into flu season and respiratory season. So to the point of the person who was saying, you know, why just COVID? Good point. It's all of it. So we're going to see what we can do. Long term, if you look at the operational plan, you'll see that we have volunteers coming into schools tied to county health metrics. So as the community becomes healthier, more people will be allowed back into the schools.
And I can assure you that it is our goal to get this thing reopened back up.
And we have one here.
All right, so there's a couple of things I want to clarify, first of all. Number one, if it's an operational kind of question, let's take just a minute to direct that, and I'll do my best to answer those. If it's a policy question, then it probably needs to live with them, and I'm going to defer. So, all right, I saw your hand. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Anna Luttrell.
Anna Luttrell. We got a thing going here. Okay.
So with the whole the vaccine coming out for 5 to 11, are we going to have to reach a certain percentage level before the ticker? You know, you've got that trigger. Is it going to start the trigger, or is it just going to be all across the board?
So the whole point of the way we mapped it was that we didn't set any criteria or threshold. We just said we're going to open up a window of time in which families can get there. So, and whether one person does or 1,000 people do is not even a question for us. And this isn't, we're not even interested at this point